Afternoon world, Hippy Trev here. So this is part one of what we're going to call the Simon Ellington Western Star truck build. Roll the intro. Hi, Hippy Trev here and welcome to my channel. Hope you get something out of it. Rightio world, so the reason it's called the Simon Ellington Western Star is because Simon actually sent this to me quite a while back. So I think he sent me this model kit about a month or two ago. At that stage I'd already bought the Kenworth model and the Mack model, which was the last two I did, not including the Army tank model that I've just finished that I really enjoyed doing. The Mack build was a really good build. The Kenworth build, if you're anyone who follows my channel and follows my model building, will know that that Kenworth build was not how it was supposed to be. But anyway, so this is part one of the Western Star. It's quite a big model. It's a 1/24th scale, which is only one up from a 1/25th scale, but it's actually it's going to be a very big model. Like just from the frame rails alone, they're a lot longer than the 1/25th scale. I'm going to have to pay very close attention and somehow maybe even have to use a square to make sure this time when I put my frame rails together, they actually end up straight, because when I did the Kenworth, they was somewhat skew-if by just a little bit. So when it come to putting the cab on and a few things like that, it was just all out of alignment. I sort of blamed AMT for their shit instructions, and a lot of it was also just me not putting it together properly. Now a lot of this kit comes in black. So just quickly, we've got some nice chrome parts. We have some grey parts, which is looks like sleeper and cab. Some more grey parts there, look like rims and wheels. Our glass, as always, and another sleeper box to do. I will not make the mistake of painting the inside of this sleeper box at all until I've actually, once I've got it all together. The inside will not need to be painted after what happened with the Kenworth. I'm not doing that again. And interestingly enough, if I can say the word properly, this one I actually have to build the cab. Like this is one side of the cab, there's the other side of the cab, there's the front, there's your front screen. And so I've actually, like 90% of the truck models, well nearly actually every one of the truck models I've built, and there's been quite a few, the cab's already been built. Like, you know, you've got your bonnet, but the cab's already complete, and you just slide the internal bucket up inside it. Well, this one I actually have to build the cab, and that's really going to test me. So, and I've also got a really nice decal sheet there, so hopefully they'll all work. So as I was saying, not a real lot of parts to this model, but I really want to put it together properly. So we've got a lot of black parts here, and what I've discovered already is it's really hard to paint. I don't know if you can even see the camera might. That was supposed to be bright red. That was a bright red paint, but it's really hard to paint black parts. Now maybe I should put a primer over everything first. Even that I'm not sure would work. I've had 2-3 goes at trying to paint this a bright red colour. Hasn't worked out, so it's just going to be that colour red. So that's the first thing I've just noticed. Like I said, there's a lot of black parts, a lot of black engine parts, and things like diffs and all that, which I normally paint blues and reds and all sorts of weird colours, because that's exactly what I do when I build my models. I never stick to the paint codes. And instantly I found out when I went to paint this, I first tried to use a bit of rattle can paint on it, and it was just a disaster. So I washed it as quickly as I could. I washed it all off with Metho. And then I got some bright red, and I've just literally hand painted that then, and it's just not coming out the colour I want. What I will do though is I bought some new, I bought some new marker pens. I got quite a few new marker pens, so I'm looking forward to using them and hopefully practice my skills of putting like the silver bands around for the tank straps and so forth. I put some, these were black as well. I did put some rattle can chrome paint on them, and it seems to have taken to that okay. The chrome was sort of a good strong colour to go over the black, so that worked okay. But I'm finding with colours like reds and maybe blues and things like that, being black, I'm gonna struggle trying to put some nice bright colours onto a lot of these parts. So I might have to limit to things like chrome and silver and things like that. So I've got the very first part of the frame rail glued on there, and now it's up to me to get the rest of the parts glued on there, make them straight. I'm going to actually, in the toolkit that Tom Garth, not Graf, but Tom Garth sent me, he sent me things like this great little straight line ruler and stuff like that, and I might even go and grab a set square from out of the workshop and try and use that. So when I go and put my two frame rails together, I can try and get them exactly straight instead of the mess I made on the Kenworth. So, but anyway, worlds, like I said, this is part one of the Simon Ellington Western Star. I've been holding off on building this. I said I had such a drama building the Kenworth, and then I just finished doing the army tank. It was a Lebanese tank, main Lebanese battle tank. It was a Tamiya model, not a lot of parts to it, no internals or anything, but I really actually enjoyed putting that together. And not only that, Tom Garth had sent me some really good tweezers, which made the job so much easier. Not only that, cutting these pliers for cutting things off the trees, and a really super far sharp trim knife, all helped making that model go together really well. So a lot of this will be down to me trying to do a really good paint job. Like I said, trying to paint these black parts vibrant colours so far hasn't worked out. I might have to do a bit of experimenting, maybe with a bit of primer to get a light primer over the black, and then do my hand painting after that. But like I said, more importantly, the biggest thing is to get this frame rail together and get it together absolutely dead straight. If I can't get this together dead straight, this whole model is just going to not look right the way through. So that's my main objective. Get all my pieces together, get them glued on properly, and then squared away. The main objective now is to firstly get this frame rail together and get it together squared, so the rest of the parts can go on this model and go where they're supposed to go, hopefully without any too much drama and without too much alignment problems. So I won't be filming any of me doing any of this, but I will be filming stages along the way. So anyway, catch you a bit later, world. Bye. Rightio, world. So we're back, and it's another day, and things are just moving along just nice and slowly. So got my frame rails together, and I do believe they went together nice and straight, so that's one good positive thing. I did actually check them with my ruler and with my square, and even by eye, everything does look pretty straight, and these went together very well. It took me a little bit to understand the actual instructions. They're just reading the instructions a little bit different, so but anyway, yeah, so the frame rail went together really well. I've put the diffs together and managed to put the air brakes on. That one's a bit crooked. So I've done the diffs and put the air brakes on. It's a really nice difference having very well fitted parts that go together. Like these have notches in them for the back drums, and when you put them on, they just notch in nicely. There was no problems, unlike the ATM Kenworth model where none of the backing plates notched on properly, and I had to file things out and cut things out to make them fit. So far these ones are going together really well, and I've also managed to get the front end together. That's just been done. I'm supposed to heat knife here, because this one actually does have turning front wheels. They turn left and right, and where the steering rod goes through, it locks into there. I'm supposed to heat knife those on the top, but I don't really need to, because it's locked in there really well. And what it's going to come to, and there's a few other places, there's a lot of steering rod parts that have to go on that have to be heat knifed on. Like you put your part up and then just drop a hot knife on the top. Well, I don't think I really need to do that, because when they lock into their little positions there, they're definitely not going to fall out. So this is the first truck model I've built that does actually have steering, so that's really good. The only thing I would like to say, and it's not really a fault of the model, but for me, it's a little bit disappointing. You just can't paint the black bits. I've tried, it gets messy. I've got a bit of chrome on. I've tried to paint the orange on there. It just didn't go on very well. I put some rattle can chrome on these tanks, but it's okay. But as far as hand painting, the hand paint doesn't stick. There's a lot of, so I've got a nice big black engine there that I'd like to do a different colour. But if I try and hand paint that, one, the colour's not going to come out right, and the paint just doesn't stick right, and all the little engine parts here, I will have a go at trying to paint them, but at least I don't have to worry about trying to make the pulley belts black. But my only sort of little bit of disappointment is you can't really paint the black parts. So like the whole steering setup, which I'm about to build now, like the whole front end steering part, like the front suspension and all that, it's not even trying to worth paint them because it just does not take to the black paint at all. But it is really nice that it's a well-fitting kit so far. Everything in the kit fits together nicely, and it's just a really nice kit to build so far. So anyway, well, I haven't got very far at this stage. I've been a little bit busy doing other things, and as we all know, the boat's given me a little bit of grief lately, but I'm going to make a separate video about that shortly. So yes, like I said, I think I've got the frame rails on nice and straight. I'm just starting to get into the front steering gear here now, and there's a lot more moving parts to be attached onto that, which is, yeah, that should be interesting to do. And like I said, I've got the diffs together, but I'm not really happy with the way the paint's going on this black. It's just not working the way it should. So anyway, well, I'm going to call that a very short video and end to part one. And when we get into part two, I should have a fair bit more done. So, okay, later. Bye.